Bonsoir, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. Our campaign is Reign of Terror. It was developed by Mark Morrison and is available on the Chaosium website. Our maître de jeu is Mick Swan, and this is episode 6. Our recap will be given by Luke Strong as his character Etienne Babon. So without any further delays, commençons notre voyage dans le ténèbre. Luke?
Petit Prince, my loyal little hound, it's been quite an adventure. So we have come to Comte de Fenelec's manor, and we've made our initial sojourn into his estate with several of my companions, Ugel, Dupois, and Beaumont, scaling the wall to initially reconnoiter the area. And what they found within was quite a surprise. As a small puppy, you cannot understand, but they found the Pope, the leader of our human religion. He was not quite the Pope as you would understand, because he was a preserved corpse, a grotesque mockery of a papal personages. It's not right. But then again, they also found some rather interesting parties going on within. Men dressed as women, women dressed as men, spanking each other with riding crops. Not just dressed as any woman or any man, but the king and the queen. That sounds like a party. But of course, it is not our place to have an adventure and party up with nobles. No. We are here for a higher purpose. And with that, this party was our key, because it's not just any costume, but the actual clothes of the king and the queen, we suspect. So, with too many people around, we made our way away, retrieved our companion, Pressy, and returned to the Count's estate. And that is when we made our move several hours later. For people had begun to drift off, go to sleep, visit other parts of the estate. And that gave us room to acquire some objects from this party. The wig of the queen herself, and the ring from this pope, which our rather shaken friend Pressy, he revealed to us was not just any costume ring, but was the ring of a real pope. What was it? Martin V, I believe. And with that, we had our evidence of true depravity and corruption, enough to bring the nobility down on this Comte de Fenelec. And so now we ride for Versailles, my little canine companion. And hopefully we will bring some resolution to this man.
You rush through the countryside, pushing the horses on at breakneck speed. Thundering through the rough roads, occasionally through small hamlets, tiny little villages. Occasionally you see a glimmer of light in a window, someone keeping late hours or up early. And on you go, on and on you go. Flecks of spit from the horses are now flying up at you as you're flying along. The horses are frothing at the mouth. And on you go, ever onwards. Difficult to say, really, whether you're intent on getting to your destination or just determined to get as far away from that house as you possibly can. Either way, the sun is rising by the time you finally see Versailles. It'll take you another 10 or so minutes to get there, but you drop the pace of the horses a little nonetheless. It's time to give them a rest. Something about the sunlight makes you feel a lot more relaxed. as though, well, at least it'll be warm. And with that, you trot down towards Versailles. If I had some coconut shells, I'd do the sound effect for you.
Yeah. Oh, thank God we are finally here.
Well, let us report in.
I should, at this point, bear in mind that you are all dressed in by now quite tattered dark clothing, rather than the uniforms of soldiers.
Had we brought our uniforms with us?
I believe we did.
Yes,
Yeah, I think Sergeant said we had to bring them. Yeah.
For this exact reason, Christoph. It was an intricate plan. I knew that we would be writing back and that we'd have to change.
I thought you were just being strict again, Sergeant.
So let us find a place where we can, in all modesty, change into our uniforms.
Goodness sake, don't lose your clothes and then get a cat to stop a nearby carriage and say that you're the Marquis of Carabas.
No more of your Puss in Boots.
Remind me, who has the ring currently?
I do.
Okay, Joseph. Okay. Well, then, as soon as we get dressed in our outfits, we should rush in.
Well, I believe once we get to once we're changed in uniform and we get to the gates, I was going to present it to you because you will be speaking with them.
The captain. Yeah.
Correct.
Well, is there really a rushing into Versailles? It's huge. We have to locate the doctor and Captain Malon.
Could we possibly just head back to his room and wait? It seems like the doctor and the captain are in cahoots. They are together. So if we were to tell the doctor, hey, we found this, he would probably grab the captain and we'd all be together.
Would you like to have Pressy possibly look at the ring anyway? He would know more about it than all of us. So
yeah, I do think that. So but we should do that as we're moving through the courtyard. We have a long way to walk, apparently.
Remember, monsieur, we must be discreet. These people, some of them are in cahoots with the Comte de Fenelic. There were quite a few people there last night.
Well, then we
Not
should
me,
definitely.
obviously, but
Yeah, let's
There's
hope that
others.
everybody. Yeah, let's hope that everybody that was in cahoots with Fenelic is over there. But we have to be wary and paranoid.
let's head to the apartment we were at before.
Sure. Joseph, go ahead and hand off the ring to Christoph. Let him have a look at it. It's a ring. Most people, him going like this and just kind of looking at a ring probably would pass off as like, oh, he's just looking at something in his hand. So let him have a look at it, see if he can tell us anything.
yeah, I pass it off to Pressy.
Yeah, I'll take it, but I'll hold it in like a clean neckerchief or something like that, or handkerchief. So, yeah, and I'll take a look at it, see if anything's inconsistent, or if it still kind of matches with the expectations and the initial thoughts I had about it. I'm not a jeweler by trade or an appraiser, but the historical and religious significance of it is what caught my eye initially.
Yeah, but you can, and I'm literally saying this to you, Christoph, you can confirm that this is the authentic ring. Because that's going to be the clincher.
I mean, my initial assessment of it seemed very, very certain that it was. Should I roll again, Keeper? Since he's pressing me on that?
I don't think you need to roll again. You know what that is.
Okay.
It would have the Pope's seal on it.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Pope's seal is on it. It says Martinus.
So, Sergeant, I'm very certain of what this is. It would have taken quite an effort to make a mockery of this.
Well, then this is good. This is what we need in order to bring down the hammer on Fenelic.
And I have the wig.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
We should
Put it
keep
on.
that in a bag, perhaps. Out of the way.
It's under my cloak.
Yep,
Okay.
there we go.
Well, us just carrying a bloody wig around in our hands would probably look pretty poor.
We put it on Petit Prince.
We have cloaks and stuff, so it's tucked. It's folded and tucked, more or less, or whatever.
So, other than this conversation, does anything happen on our way to the apartment?
Well, it's early in the morning. There are not that many people around, but there are one or two people milling around, mainly servants, but one or two aristos. So I'm going to let you all make a listen roll, but you would need a very good result to hear
No.
anything interesting.
No.
Does anyone hear a loud ringing?
I'd pass, but not that good. No.
I found.
Babon and your tinnitus.
My what?
Your tinnitus.
Okay. No, you haven't heard anything. Just ordinary gossip.
Okay.
Madame Le something is not showing enough
Cleavage.
sadness at the death of the Dauphin. Some other aristo is showing too much, grieving too much.
He's showing too much cleavage.
Yes. The Duc de Montmorency he is showing far too much cleavage. He's a strange one, that Duke de Montmorency. Okay, well, you are shown through. You know where you're going. You're shown through to the apartments that are currently being occupied by Captain Malon. The captain, you are, what's the name of the guy? It would be his equerry, wouldn't it? An equerry? Do captains have equerries? Or do you have a steward?
Steward.
Okay, the captain's steward informs you that, that the captain is currently attending to his toilette and will be with you shortly. And you are told to wait outside the room. During which some more people walk past, giving you another opportunity to make a listen roll. I don't want to seem like I'm obviously pushing you to listen, but you can all hear the ringing that Bavan heard.
I got a hard success, a 36 out of 75.
I didn't succeed.
That was Lady Brunessa shrieking.
Do you know, just purely for the sake of carrying the scenario along, I'm going to let you have that. He says, trying to plug a plot hole. As you're sitting there, and you're looking around, you know, because the last time you were in this particular corridor, you bumped into your beloved. So you know, yes. So at this point, you're thinking, well, I'll just keep an eye out in case she's there. So you're sort of craning your head around and keeping an eye on what's going on. And Yes, and you overhear two rather tired-looking aristocratic women who give the impression that they've probably not yet been to bed. And as they walk past you, you just catch a few snippets of conversation. And the first is, oh yes, it was quite something to remember, wasn't it? And then the other one waves a gold envelope, and the first woman says, "Oh, you'll be coming as well, will you, on the 13th?" And she says, "Oui, I will."
Sounds like those two ladies were at a bit of a party last night. Did you hear what they said? They were up all night. I wonder if it was the same party we came from.
Unless they rode their horses all night long to get here as fast as we did.
They perhaps they left much earlier than we did.
Possibly.
Yeah. But they said there was going to be another party on the 13th.
This
Well-
is making me jealous, all these parties.
Mm.
What's the date today? It's the 10th.
It's either the 9th or 10th at this point.
The 9th. 9th was the day. Wait. That's the 5th.
We started on the 5th, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Then we went to Versailles on the 6th. Then we left the next day on the 7th.
Traveled basically a full day.
Mm-hmm. You had a little bit of activity that night, led into the 8th. In the evening of the 8th is when you guys actually went to... Okay, yeah, so this would be the 9th.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's 9th.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, Christoph, this gives me an idea. Say that this is the same party, that they just happened to leave earlier. If there is another party at Fenelix's Chateau on the 13th, perhaps that's an opportune time to raid.
Ah,
We
That would-
show everyone the depravity. We expose them. It's not just we walk in the middle of the day and let's take a look around. It's we raid during the party and it's there to see.
and all the aristos are caught red-handed.
Exactly. Not just Fenelic. All of the aristos that have been defaming the Pope.
The door to the apartment opens, and the steward, come equerry, factotum, whatever you want to call him, ushers you in. Monsieur the captain will see you now. As you enter the apartment, you're quite surprised to see Dr. Rigaud is already there. Although you notice to one side of the room is what looks like a door, an adjoining door that's ajar. Presumably that leads to Dr. Rigaud's apartments, which you know are also in this corridor. The captain is obviously tired. Clearly hasn't slept very much. The doctor is every bit as feverish as you recall. In fact, if anything, he looks a little worse. But neither of them stand on ceremony. There's very little in the way of formality or bonhomie. The captain simply turns to you and says, "Well, what did you find?"
I stand straight, prim and proper, and I just kind of extend my hand to Christoph. who has the ring.
I'll put it in his hand.
And I will then take my hand and kind of sweep it across and present it to the captain.
The jewelry. What is this?
Take a closer look here, and I point to the seal of the Pope, the papacy.
Well, it's very unusual, but I don't see how this is evidence of any misconduct.
I
I mean, religious relics are 10 a penny, 10 a sou.
I then say, this is the Pope's ring, should not be destroyed. They had it on a desiccated corpse, kissing it. And I say this in a voice that's not like to scorn him, but I'm very surprised that the captain just has he's not as religious a man. He's just like, oh, it's just a religious artifact.
Start from the beginning and tell me what it was that you found.
My men and I, we did reconnaissance at the mansion, and we saw, as people scream in the background of my apartment, we found that there was a party going on. A party not even 2 full days, not even a week has passed since the prince's death, and yet they're partying, these aristocrats. And when my men did their reconnaissance, they saw very distasteful, bizarre things. They saw statues of mythology twisted with terrible bat wings, blood mixed with wine in the fountains. They also found inside orgies, essentially.
At that point, I produce the wig.
I then point to it and I say, this was on one of them as she whipped a man dressed as the king.
No, Master Jean.
Yes.
It was on the man being whipped.
It was the reverse.
Dressed as the king.
That's what
this
it was.
Is quite a party that they had.
Yes. See, I thought it was more normal than it actually was.
Not to mention, it was possibly not just a mannequin, but the actual body of the dead Pope that they were all kissing.
Exactly.
I saw it with my own 2 eyes and touched it.
There was a body, what was it, out front?
Sitting in a chair, I believe, or propped up in a position so you could come up and kiss the ring. And it was
gross sacrilege.
They were kissing it as they...
And is this not Marie Antoinette's wig? And I sort of throw it on the floor.
Doctor, would you have a look at that for me, please? And the doctor shuffles over and...
We also saw the woman was wearing a red dress as Marie Antoinette is wearing in the painting.
We could not recover that, however. It was also, as Babon will also reference, it was the man wearing the dress. Such terrible defamation to the throne.
Quite a party indeed.
Rigaud almost sort of perks up a little bit as he draws the captain and indeed everyone else's attention to the wig, and he says, "See this? Look, this is the royal wig maker.
It's not just a replica."
No, this is one of Marie Antoinette's wigs.
Dr. Rigaud, would not Fenelic have access to the apartments of the Marie Antoinette? Would he not be able to take these things and return?
Well, perhaps. I mean, in Versailles, anyone with enough money can find a questionable servant. who can be turned to their advantage.
They
and
are
so
committing gross treason against the state.
my interest here is less in that and more in the fact that I mean, if what you say is true, that he hosted a party at which a man dressed in Marie Antoinette's wig was being beaten by a woman dressed as the king, that in itself would tend to suggest that we have grounds to severely undermine his patronage from the crown.
Now, you suggested a raid the last time we spoke. Christophe here overheard some of the aristocrats outside speaking about another party on the 13th. If this is one of Fenelix's get-together, one of his rows, then perhaps we could raid during the middle of the party, catch them all in the act.
Yes, my thoughts exactly. I'm confident that an armed raid on one of these parties would be the right thing to do. We must proceed very cautiously. I will need you to plan the raid. I can find men, perhaps as many as 4 dozen, who could be brought in to carry out such a task. We will need to provide. We will need to proceed very, very cautiously. It is very important that no one is allowed to leave the property once the raid takes place. Everyone there is to be arrested. Everyone. If they are servants, boot boys, it doesn't matter. We will interview and interrogate them later and decide what happened. But we need everyone there detained. Everything in the house is evidence. There must be nothing looted.
Oh, luckily, Fenelix's paranoia, his building of tall walls with spikes, the isolation of his grounds, the fact that there's only one gate means that it should be easy for us to corral everyone and no one should escape.
Yeah, this is good. This is good. Monsieur le Captain. Yes. Dr. Rigaud will be building a formal case against the Comte. As a consequence, any journals, books, letters, or other written materials should be kept for him. You may wish to bind them in a trunk. Given how important it is that we specifically bring evidence against Fenelix, I would recommend that those written materials be brought back separately with yourselves. If in fact, actually, well, I mean, I don't know. Clearing out an entire house is no easy task. But everything will need to be catalogued. We'll need to know where everything was. Of course, above all other considerations, Comte de Fenelix must be captured alive so that he can stand trial. It is not enough if he is just killed in the course of a raid. That provides more questions than it answers. Sorry, poses more questions than it answers. No, we must have him alive. and he must be made to pay. I mean, I'm sure you understand that there's no chance whatsoever of a man like that even making it to the Bastille. But we'll find somewhere for him.
If I may say so, monsieur. A man like that needs to be locked away. He is insane.
Yes, this is a very good point. Monsieur le Docteur, perhaps in the intervening period, you might be able to make certain overtures to the Master in Lunacy to smooth the way if that becomes a possibility. Vigo nods. So, Sergeant,
We
in planning the raid, you will need to know when it will take place, where you will marshal your forces before the attack, when you will strike, how many men will be sent, who will command them, where each group of men will be stationed, signal to commence the raid, means of entry to the property, and the objectives you wish to secure. This must be done with absolute precision.
completely understood. I have one question.
Oui.
And I turn to Etienne and I say, can we have a cannon?
A swivel gun on a cart, I was thinking. But yes, perhaps a field gun would work.
We need to break through the gate with such force that a cannonball breaking through the gate would be signal enough for everyone surrounding.
But
Yes.
It would take some time to roll it into position, and unless we bring a troop of horses to pull it, or some stout cannoneers. But I was thinking a swivel gun on a cart may be a little more portable.
Yes, I think that's possible. If you think it's necessary.
I want this to
I
be
will provide you with the necessary paperwork to obtain such things from the armory at the Bastille.
Of course. I want this to be as quick and precise as possible. So getting a way to punch through the gate and rush up, secure the front with men, and having some men probably in the surrounding forest in case someone gets a little too antsy or runs over the wall, they can be caught. I'm sure they won't get too far. They don't probably know the woods.
Arestos will not climb over a wall.
Well, they will if they're going to get arrested. I think any man would run knowing what's in store. But do you want us to... There's two options in my head, Captain, and my men. The first option is to execute this operation when everyone is currently in the throngs of the party. It's in full swing.
Mm-hmm.
Or when everyone is asleep, as we did earlier.
I would prefer the former idea.
You would perform.
I think a point at which incriminating activity is taking place, multiple witnesses. Bear in mind that every soldier who goes into that building is a potential witness.
True.
Sergeant, please keep in mind also that the woman that was overheard here had made it back prior to us, which suggested she left before our second approach.
True.
So we would want to catch as many as possible.
Which means we may need to secure the town as well.
You're thinking roadblocks, perhaps?
I'm thinking roadblocks.
This is very difficult to arrange.
May I make a suggestion, mon capitaine? As we traveled to Poissy, I'm gonna make some assumptions here. As we traveled to Poissy along the road, we passed through a number of small villages. Could we not station our troops in the first village before Poissy and wait for the carriages of the partygoers to pass us? Then we shall know that we have the right night. We will know that the party is about to begin. And then we can time our raid for the middle of the party.
Yes. Yes.
And we won't alert anyone in Poissy as to our presence.
We should also consider leaving a small garrison there, because they can do a checkpoint. Carts come through, soldiers stop them. Can we have a look around?
I don't understand, Sergeant. If there is a checkpoint, they will immediately know that something is up and they will cancel that party.
Not as they're going to, as they're coming from.
We're not going to let them come from.
Wow.
And speaking of which, that is a concern. Where do we put these party goers when we have apprehended them?
We will have carts for them later.
And rope.
I don't think you should blow the gate down either. The gate is a way we can keep them all prisoners.
Exactly. My thought on that, from my perspective as an artilleryman, is we can roll up a swivel gun and just point it in the direction. If anyone makes their way towards the gate, a blast of canister shot will dissuade them.
The question then is, how do we get in?
We just go in. They're aristos. They're not soldiers. They do not stop us. They will all be like, "Oh dear, what is?"
But the gate is locked.
We'll threaten the gatekeeper.
But we want to not alert them very first thing. We don't want them to prepare.
They'll be in the middle of the party.
Monsieur Doctor, says Malon, do you have anything you wish to add? And Malon furrows his brow, and in addition to the fever, you can see there's a great deal preying on his mind, which is understandable. I mean, don't forget that Fenelek has been waging a campaign of scurrilous rumors against him. He's under a great deal of stress. And after chewing his lip for a moment, he says, the Comte enjoys the favor of the royal couple, particularly of Marie Antoinette. His wholly unnatural and unwholesome influence on the Queen must be brought to a cessation. We know that he is an incredibly fit and agile man. He has killed several men in duels, all much larger and stronger than he. He is a dangerous opponent, and he must not be underestimated. The only thing I can think is that this is probably nothing, but at one dinner, at one banquet, I noticed that Fenelek had a very strong reaction to the food. He was, I mean, it was not a simple difference of taste. He ate a few mouthfuls of the food and was virtually insensible for a few minutes. To my knowledge, he's never attended another banquet since.
Do you know what the food was? What type of food? What he ingested?
These royal banquets, the tables are piled high with different foods. It could have been anything. There was no way of knowing. He was on the opposite side of the table from me. But I talked to the staff in the kitchens. For the servants, of course, they pay more attention to these things. They know what is on people's plates. They're serving people. And through means which we will not discuss, sundry means of persuasion, I was able to obtain what I believe were the same ingredients from the dinner, and powder them. I could perhaps give you some of this powder. I mean, but it is, they're cooking ingredients. Fennel and onions and the like. But perhaps if he has an allergy, I don't know.
Well, we do know that they get a wine shipment prior to the parties. If there's a way we can intercept the wine and put this powder into the wine bottles, we might be able to take them out before it starts.
Oh, I think you misunderstand, monsieur. I have just a couple of handfuls. It is simply from the kitchens.
And
some herbs and spices from the kitchens. I've ground them down into a powder.
And you think he's
somewhere in there, I think, is what he's allergic to.
Do you think he's like allergic to onions or?
Yeah, it could be onions. It could be the fennel. It could be the peppers, the salt. Well, not the salt. Who could be allergic to salt?
Oh. Well, we could definitely, when we grab Fenelic, incapacitate him with this powder. Maybe bring him in easier. He's going to put up a fight. So maybe this powdered substance will... it's not deadly, is it? He's not deathly.
No, but it... he became deathly pale. And he was frothing at the mouth and gasping for air. Clawing at his throat. For some minutes afterwards.
Well, like I said, that could incapacitate him. If it's not deadly, then we can use it on him. Use like a sandbag, just throw it at his face. He's bound to inhale some of it. So, well, me and my men should retire and plan the raid for the 13th and get everything situated.
Good.
We'll leave the two of you to whatever it is you need to do.
Well, look, I will have my steward fetch you some food. You use my room. I have things to do for the next few hours. I must make arrangements. But use my room. You will find perhaps not a map of Poissy. Well, we will see. I will fetch you pen and paper. But yes, stay here. I will return in several hours. Try and do the best you can, and put together some sort of plan. We need to make this count. We will only have one chance at this. If we don't do this, then we are all finished. He looks at Rigaud at that point, and well, Rigaud's face says everything. He looks genuinely ill, that man. And you suspect most of his illness is the result of stress.
Well,
With that,
stress for long.
Rigaud leaves back to his apartment through the adjoining door. Captain pulls on his sword belt, sheathes his sword, puts on his hat, and leaves. About 15 minutes later, or in 15 minutes' time, a man will arrive with food for you. For the rest of the morning, you will be required to start planning the raid. I wonder if I can do that. Hang on.
Well, Sergeant, what are your orders?
Well, let's go ahead and start planning this. Liking the swivel gun idea. I like the swivel gun idea because it stops carriages and horses. I'm not so much worried about people running down and waving their hands like, oh my God, I need to get out of here. I'm afraid of carriages going full speed, trying to bash their way through. I think a swivel gun will stop that.
And we could
really can't happen. They have horses in front of them. Horses
we could
don't bash their way through things.
We could take a few logs and throw them right in front of the gate, so if any carts try and come out, they'll hit it, like ones that they can't actually go over.
Sure. If we have horses on our team, they could drag them straight up to the gate.
Yep.
Sure. I think also that we should have not a lot of men. We have 48 men, 4 dozen. I'm thinking just a few in the woods, spaced out.
Send them over the wall?
Yeah. The main garrison should just cut right through, just run up the road.
Because there was the old man who was walking the path.
Yeah.
Perhaps they'll make sure that he's dealt with.
Well, what I'm imagining is that those men will go over the wall, and they'll land on that clearing and just act as spots. You know, just if people start running towards the wall, you can stop them. There's a nice clearing. There's the brambles that they have to run through. So their only method of escape at that point would be the gate, which we've already blockaded. There's no way out.
Right. There's that 3-foot path that runs the gate. If you do have the guys climb up on the 4 corners with rifle, anybody running on the path, you could put a bullet in front of them and stop them.
Exactly. So, and that's just 4 out of 48. The other 44 can just rush in. Like, people are going to, especially the servants, are going to put up a fight. Fenelek is going to put up a fight. We're going in there expecting to bash in heads and grab as much as we can and just lock down what we need to. This is not a raid. This is a raid. It's not a, oh, you're crashing the party.
That house will become their prison until we can move them on.
Exactly.
We have to get entry right away, because if they try and destroy any of the evidence, throwing it in the fire or whatnot, we need to have people storm in directly. Like, we have to shut it down as quickly as possible.
Exactly. Which, and I think that having just a group en masse just surround the building and have a very large team enter in, because think of it like this: there's technically 3 exits out of the house. From the house, there's 1 exit off the property, which is the gate. So if we secure the house and then also secure the property, we're chokeholding them. We're making it more and more and more difficult. I see it as there's multiple entries into the house or exits out of the house. We secure those, also secure the way off of the property, because it's the only way. They're going to go into the woods and they're going to get lost. They're going to die in the woods. They're aristocrats. They probably don't know how to tell the directions of the sun or anything like that without a compass. So
it's doubtful, monsieur, that they know how to climb.
Exactly.
And they will be in clothes that will not allow them to go rustling through the brambles.
So it's a clear cut right down the middle. They're going to have to go through that gate.
I think, mon sergeant, that all of these precautions are good, but all you will need to do is walk through the front door with soldiers and say, everybody is under arrest, and they will most likely be caught red-handed. These are aristos. They are not soldiers. They won't fight. They will be horrified. They will scream, and we shall round them all up and not let them go. I imagine they will come up to you and they will say, I am Sir Whatchamacallit, and I want to leave. And you'll say, no. And he'll say, how dare you?
No, these aristos, they may be like a little dog. You know, you try to take away their food, and a little dog will try to bite if you try to take away its food.
They have no training. They don't know what. They will assume that all they will have to do is say one word to the king, and he will have you reprimanded for. But the precautions are good. I don't think that it's going to happen like that.
I think Dupois is right, but
Finelec will probably put up a fight. He is behind
and his men. And that is where I'm thinking we maybe send in someone rather sneaky, say perhaps Ugel, along with some of the more capable members of this task force that we have been assigned. We send them in first. A few of us walk up to the gate. We make our presence known.
May I just interrupt you for just 1 second?
Mm-hmm.
Gentlemen, that is the estate in question.
Jesus Christ, the property is huge.
Now, that's the main house and the stable attached to it?
This bit here, this grey bit on the back of it.
Is the stable, you said, correct?
That's the coaching house, yes.
Okay,
stable.
thank you.
And this is the house proper, the mansion proper. This is the drive.
It's like 3 football fields wide.
The gates, well, actually, a lot of these things are actually marked with numbers. So number 1 is the gate. 3 is the drive. 2 is the wall. 4, 5, 6, and 7 are the fountains, and 8 is the gazebo in the middle. Those are the 4 little gardens.
Okay.
Of which we spoke.
Yeah, they're
so when you came into the property, you came in over the wall up here, made your way down here and around. Well, I think you came out here actually. Came out here, and you made your way around here, up to here, looked in the window, then they came out from there, then you moved around here. When you got round to about here was when you could see in, well actually probably this bit here is when you could see in to the window there. And I believe you left
somewhere over there,
over the wall over here, that way.
So we blockade the gate. We have a section of men at the top of the drive.
Hang on, try turning on your annotate feature at the top.
Oh, it's fine. I mean, I can, sure, I'll annotate it. Here's my mouse. Can you see it? No. It's fine. Don't worry about it. You guys will get my drift. Blockade the gate. Small garrison of men up at the top of the drive. So, imagining 4 men at the gate with the logs and not the cannon, the swivel gun.
I would advise you to make a note of
how many people we're doing.
Yeah, of these plans and who's going where.
Okay, well then here we go. I'm writing it all down now. At the gate, we'll have 6 people. 6 people at the gate. At the top of the drive, we'll have, what's a reasonable number? This is just so that if people begin running down the drive, they can be hit over the head and arrested. They can be stopped. As Dupas said, they're not going to run through the brambles. They're going to cut straight down, head south to the gate.
Well, if we've managed to open the gate, why don't we have 3 people stationed there with the repeating gun as a deterrent? I think when Aristos are staring down the barrel of something like that, they're very likely to stop at that point versus letting them go all the way down to the gates.
Once we are through the gate, why don't we just close the gate?
Exactement. And as I was thinking before, even before we actually charge in, if we were to send, say, a small crew of people to maybe perhaps, let's see if I can draw it here. It's the wrong color, but see the diamonds there? Under the mansion, where it says the mansion?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
A small group of people to stand, say, about there, and then some of us show up at the gate. We make a commotion. The footmen of the count leave to make their way to the gate to do whatever it is that they do. And then our men who have snuck in early attempt to disarm them from ambush.
I like that idea.
Yeah. Would it just be our men, or would it be soldiers as well?
Soldiers as well. Why don't we disable the carts as well?
Well, as you pointed out, if the carts can't get past the gun, if the gate's locked, and if there's wood blockading the gate if there's wood blockading the gate, should be no reason for the carts to even possibly get past.
And then we could use those carts to bring back all the evidence.
But why risk the mayhem? Just stop the carts from ever being boarded in the first place.
Do you mean by cutting its axles?
No, I mean by simply posting soldiers next to the garage.
Or chaining them together or something. Chaining them at the wheel so that they can't move.
Just post soldiers there.
Well,
don't let them get on the carts.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if somehow, some way they get past the soldiers, they can hop on their carts and escape. If you have it locked down, they can't go anywhere.
If we were to tie some chain around a wheel on each of the wagons, that would surely smash that wheel as they tried to ride away.
Exactly. Well, I like that idea.
You're still assuming that will ever happen. I say lock them in the house.
I say we should take all precautions. It might not happen as you say, but it's better to have it locked down just in case it does happen.
I'm just going to leave you to discuss this amongst yourselves for the moment while I quickly just run off and do some eye drops again.
Okay.
Sure.
My eyes are very bad tonight. Sorry. Back in a sec.
I agree with the idea of having a kind of like a backup plan. Yes, we go in and we assert control, but at that point of asserting control, we lock things down, like any extra means of transport in case they do attempt to slip out or to work their way around us.
They will not know that we are there until we are at the house.
Well, we have...
The gate is 500 feet away from the house. Nobody will see us coming. We will have the house surrounded before anybody even knows we're there. And the gate secured.
How will the 48 get in past the gate?
We'll just go through the gate.
We'll just go nice and quiet. Just All 48 will do stealth checks.
5 soldiers walk up to the gate and point a gun at the gatekeeper and say, "Open the fucking gate." And we just bash it in. It's just a lock. It's just a chain. We could do that with a battering ram.
There's 48 soldiers, and it's 54 people total with us. There's maybe 20 guests, and let's say 20 servants, and maybe 10 guards. The aristos shouldn't be any problem. The few guards would be, and Fenelek. So you're talking corralling people, corralling civilians. The only opposition that will probably put up a fight will be his paid servants and himself. So maybe 15 men will actually have to fight if it comes down to that.
Yeah.
And hopefully none of that will happen. They will simply...
Correct.
And if the preliminary force is able to disarm them when they make their way towards the gate, that may take most of the guards out.
I don't think they will ever even leave the house until we have them all arrested. How will we secure the individuals? Well, we're not going to tie them up. They're aristos.
Wow. Here's what's going to happen with that. There's a wine cellar. There has to be. It's going to be low. It's going to be probably in a cellar in a basement. It's literally a wine cellar. So somewhere dank and moist underground. One entrance is probably rather large. So we just corral them in there.
Or that big nice circle right in the middle of the drive. You walk them all out there. You have guards surrounding them with their rifles, and they sit in the dirt until we take them. They are traitors, and they are blasphemers. You treat them like that. If we have to tie them, we tie them. They are no longer aristocrats. They are criminals to the country.
Well, at this point,
the servants and the direct henchmen are not aristos, though, and we should bind them.
I think we should. I agree with Joseph. We should just bind every one of them. They've all committed treason. Just because they're aristocrats doesn't mean that, oh, you committed treason against the crown. We'll treat you nice and prim and proper. Just sit there on the grass and don't run away.
Do you still need the map?
Fight, though. No.
At the moment? Okay.
Only if they fight, though. The servants are not criminals in this.
I think that their loyalty to Fenelek is what's important.
Do you think they have that loyalty to such a monster?
I think that they have fear.
And when he's arrested, they won't have any fear anymore. They might be our best witnesses to the depravity of that house.
But Fenelek, his closest guards, the ones that he brought here with him to France, they will likely put up a fight. You know.
And they're probably soldiers or ex-soldiers. They have training. They're not just going to be little footmen with a club.
I wasn't aware that we ever saw anything like that. So far, we've just seen aristos and stable boys.
Well, when a foreign dignitary travels like that, does he not bring his closest protection and most trusted people?
Unless he is so arrogant, he feels no need for it. But I would rather bank on having him there than not at all.
I don't know. He's just a rich guy. He's not the king.
But if his sights are set on taking over the country, he had probably planned for it.
You're probably right. You're probably right.
I'd rather be wrong and not need to confront it than right and not prepare.
Exactly.
If I may say so, we could deliberate all night. Now it is time for Mon Sergeant to make his decision as to what we shall do, and we shall follow his orders.
Oh, goody. All right.
You have heard our recommendations.
So we will go. I'm going to continue with what I was doing because Mick asked me to. 3 men at the gate.
Okay. Hang on. Should we do this in the order of his questions?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Easier way to do it. So Oh, where's my pen gone? There it is. Right. Good God. Such a bloody... See, I'm not used to doing this on a Monday. I've got work stuff everywhere. I'm completely confused today. When will the raid take place? Well, that's... I think you've already established that that's going to be on the 13th during the party.
Yes, we've also established that we will be in the hamlet before Poissy to just track the carts as they come in. And once the last of the carts goes in, we will wait accordingly and then follow through.
Oh, it's the wrong map. Hold up.
That way, if there is no party, we don't make ourselves fools. Because the people in the corridor outside might have had nothing to do with Fenelek or a Fenelek party. They're aristos. Aristos have parties all the time. And there's a lot of them.
So, yeah.
There are 3 roads out of Poissy. Or 4, actually 4 roads out of Poissy.
But which one is most likely the one that people coming from Versailles would go into?
Probably the east.
They would come through from the south, from Saint-Germain. I'll show you the map, in fact.
Sure.
There we go. Right, so coming from Versailles, the direct route would be here, via Saint-Germain, and through the forest is the same where you came.
All right. Well, then that's perfect. We'll set up there.
If we had the troops in Saint-Germain and posted a lookout near the road so that we could see them going by, then they could alert the troops and the troops could.
And that is what we will do. So what is his next question?
The next one. Sorry. Where will you marshal your forces before the attack?
Saint-Germain?
How does the woods right off the gate sound down that road? That dirt path has a forest nearby. We can kind of just we can have the carts pulled the horses, but we can have the majority of our forces in just off the sides of the road. So that way, if someone does see us approaching, if the guard at the gate goes, "Oh, look, there are several carts coming that we did not order. Let me run up and ask." He doesn't see 48 men just marching down the road, left, right, left. He just sees.
I was gonna say, bear in mind, you're gonna have like 50 odd men, carts, horses, a gun, a small artillery piece.
Well, I thought we just said that they would be in Saint-Germain before the raid.
When we show up, we're gonna be there, and there's only one road there. So how are we gonna hide 50 troops? We want this to be a quiet espionage thing, and then for us to go in. So we got to hide 50 people and a whole bunch of carts somewhere.
Oh, well, Saint-Germain is not on the road, though. It's the nearest village.
And throughout the day, we can have the troops slowly filter into the woods nearby and just be lying low.
Which is what I was suggesting, is that we just kind of have them in the woods off the beaten road. And when the carts come, because the carts are going to come to carry off all the aristos and the gun and all that stuff, they just see carts initially. It's just carts. Our men are in the woods lying in wait.
You'll initially be marshalling your forces in Saint-Germain.
Yes.
Okay. So the time, have we decided on a time yet?
I think we said midnight. Heat of the party.
We have to get everybody there that day. Otherwise, people going to the party would see us on the.
Well, I thought he was asking about the time in which we would commence the raid. As soon as possible. As soon as possible. We would have everyone kind of marshal our troops as soon as possible, and then we would make our way, probably in the evening.
And bear in mind that for the most part, soldiers are going to get there by marching there.
Yes, which is, yes, I am, yeah.
So that takes time. It's not something, it's not, whereas you've been quite fortunate in traveling out there by horse. This is something, as ordinary soldiers, this is not something you ordinarily have access to. Really, it's unlikely. It's usually unlikely that anyone below the rank of lieutenant would have a horse. Officers have horses. NCOs rarely, unless they're in artillery.
Yeah, so it would take time. So on the day of the 13th, our forces should very, very sparsely begin going in groups out to Poissy and heading to the woods just off the road, because that way there's not a 50-man team of soldiers just marching through Poissy and people are like, what's going on? It's just 5 soldiers every couple of hours marching in. We'll just space it out appropriately. So that way everyone is there at midnight at the heat of the party.
It's going to take about 12 hours to march in there.
Yes. Which is why we
move them there the day before.
To Poissy?
No, to Saint-Germain.
Well, I said that we should go to Saint-Germain as soon as possible, like now.
Well, we're going to have to feed and house all those soldiers if we're there for 3 days.
The other issue is keeping the townsfolk quiet about our presence.
Could we not make up a story about being maneuvers? We're on a training maneuvers.
How large is that town?
It's a small market town.
So it doesn't have a barracks. It doesn't have a garrison.
No.
All right. Well, I'll defer to everyone else's judgment, I suppose.
I would suggest we march there on the 12th. We could, on the 11th, we could stock some provisions there. On the 12th, everyone arrives, they get their rest, and then we set everything up, and on midnight or 11 o'clock or so, probably from Saint-Germain to Poissy is what, maybe an hour's march? Should be fairly close.
Well, we're saying Saint-Germain. I mean, that's the nearest other town, but realistically, there are going to be small villages in the forest of Saint-Germain.
Well, why don't we? Well, how long would it take to march from Saint-Germain to Poissy?
I will just find the.
Because that way there wouldn't be any soldier activity in Poissy at all. They wouldn't even know. People would ride their carriages into Poissy on the night of the party. And then while it was underway, we could just march the troops right up to the gates.
According to the map, it looks like it's about 4 miles, 4.5 miles. So it's
half an hour.
About an hour's march.
Yeah. We could just march them. I mean, they wouldn't have time to react. Nobody would even know their soldiers coming until we were there.
The party would already be underway. So, by the time we start moving, folks,
we realized we would be leaving Saint-Germain with our troops at 11 o'clock at night, everybody's going to be asleep, except for the people at the party.
I do think we should go a little earlier than that, though. If what we heard from that young lady was true, that Aristo, then she had to have left, before midnight to make it back here before we did. Considering we were traveling at a pretty desperate speed to get here.
And without a carriage.
Could we say that our priority is to capture the Comte de Fenelek and those Confederates with him? If some of them leave early in the party, they're not that important. Not as important as the Count and his. So we want the people there. Some people may leave before the depravity starts. They're not really, they might be innocent.
Well, I was not feeling well. What time did you do your initial scouting when you were there last night?
9:30.
And things were already well underway.
Well, we went back in. So yeah, that's true. Because 9:30 is still 3 hours after the sun sets or so.
So we will go.
I don't know, though. I'm in the middle of June.
It's June, so it's just getting dark about that time.
What about we just say 10:30? It's the cover of night. The party should still be underway.
And we don't have to march like soldiers. We could march quietly, like sneaky soldiers.
We'll march sneakily, like soldiers do.
Nobody will know we are coming. For surprise.
That all sounds fine. We will do all that. What is the next question?
Well, how will the men be divided, and who will lead each group?
All right. I say that Yosef leads the initial infiltration squad in, which would be about 3 people, that includes people that Yosef decides to take in of our party now. So Yosef will have 3 people under his command when he goes over initially. How does that sound? You can't have too large of a force, but you also can't have too small of one.
No, that sounds good.
Okay.
Just to get some boots on the ground inside the compound.
Sure. Is there anyone in this group you'd like to take with you?
Dubois was very stealthy, was he not?
I think that the initial group that infiltrated during our reconnaissance was a very, very stealthy team. It was a very good team. But I think that's the first group. The second group is what I will call the Woods group, which I am calling 7 people. What they will do is they will go to the wall and they will wait, and when they get the signal, which we'll have to come up with, they will go over the wall and they will position themselves to where if anyone comes their way, bang, bang, shooty gun, guns to dead. Because why not? So that's 10 people. We've got 38 left. 3 will be posted at the gate with the swivel cannon, the swivel gun. I then think that we should have a group of 10 be on that patch, that lawn, because if we're going with Yosef's suggestion, we're going to be funneling people out, and they need to be sat down and they need to be supervised. No one if we're not securing them or imprisoning them or locking them up or tying them up inside the house, they're coming outside. People need to be there. People who are not actively in the house or securing the perimeter or anything like that. So I think 10's a little bit much. Maybe 6 to 8 out on that patch of lawn. People are funneling out, locking them down. 2 people can secure the carriages, going off of Michelle's idea. Just tying and locking chains. That won't take long.
I have a suggestion about that, Monsieur Jean.
Go ahead.
As an engineer, I could just build a cheval de frise, Frisian horse, basically a block of wood with some big wooden spikes running across it. We set it on the front of the cart, kick it off into the way behind us, and blocks the entrance from horses or anything that would pass through.
That's a good idea. I mean, I thought we were initially doing that with logs, but I like that idea a lot more because there's spikes on it.
Exactly. Exactement.
As Dupois shakes his head, like, our plan is stupid and futile, but who the fuck gives a shit?
Let us hope that none of us run our horses onto the spikes.
Well, I hope that none of us are riding horses into the compound, because that would be a little illogical if we're arresting people and looking for evidence. But anyways, 6 people should then lock down the exits and entrances into the house. Everyone else should be raiding, grabbing people, throwing them down, looking for evidence.
And there's probably going to be a few people hiding in the rose bushes like we did last time. So maybe a few people just checking the overgrowth area.
Sure, we can have 2 people with torches kind of going past the overgrowth. Or...
Are they the same folks that are watching the exterior path around the perimeter?
I don't know. Christoph, what do you think? Should they be the same people or should they be different people with torches?
Well, I think if they're going to watch the path, then they shouldn't be in the brambles, because we've learned going through those brambles, it's slow.
A bitch and a half.
Yep. I mean, they'll be, if they're on the path, hopefully they'll hear a loud aristo crashing through that.
So then we will have different people, just kind of 2 people, just circling around with torches, while the men in the perimeter just stand there. Their whole job is to guard, not to look. If someone starts running, they can fire a warning shot to stop them. It's going to be dark.
And I think more in the brambles and overgrowth will be like the servants and people who actually know the property better. I don't think the aristos can even attempt to run through with their clothing like that.
Oh, yeah. I'm assuming that they won't jump over the fence, but they're just there to, if someone is like, oh, I'm going to try and run away, they can fire a warning shot, scare them, stop them until someone can come and grab them. So 2 people with torches circling the garden just to make sure. Everyone else inside. Everyone else inside, grabbing people, grabbing evidence. I think that now there should be different groups for looking for evidence, arresting people, and then going and getting phenolic. It'll be a clusterfuck if everyone's just running around grabbing as much, just looting. So who wants to go get phenolic?
I will.
I want to get that bastard.
All right, Christophe and Michelle, you can go get phenolic. Me and Etienne will arrest people. Joseph and Dupont will look for evidence. That is our goals. Phenolic, evidence, arresting everybody.
Shall we arrest them and I guess bring plenty of leg manacles to bind them up? Keep people still?
Well, I don't know. The last time we talked about binding them up, everyone said they were aristos. We can't bind them. They're too fancy. But I like the idea of manacles.
I say bind them all.
Yeah.
Aye.
So, I like the idea of manacles. We'll bring them. We got to have something for the servants anyway. They're going to be rowdy. The guards will probably be rowdy if there are guards.
Let me just say one final thing. We better be right. Because if we are not right, we will all meet Madame Guillotine.
Well, if we get there and we find out we are wrong, then we kill the Count, and then we are right anyways.
If we kill the Count, we will all meet Madame Guillotine the next day.
What? Well, can we not send someone in advance just to confirm the party is happening and then signal for action?
Well, I imagine that's what Joseph is going to do.
Party if all of them are going to the Count's house. That's a party.
What is your signal?
That is going to be the difficult part. What is the signal? Is the signal the cannon? That's what I imagine would be the signal, is a loud boom that would alert everyone in the vicinity. That includes the aristocrats.
Well, I mean, a swivel gun is kind of like, you could either describe it as a small cannon or a very, very, very big shotgun.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that I think that the swivel cannon will do a fine, either that or a rifle, just boom, rifle.
It's like basically, you think of it as it's a big galley gun.
Yeah,
a bigger version of a galley gun,
or
a smaller version of a pivot gun, depending on.
What, mon Capitan, are we signaling?
To actually begin a raid.
Yeah.
Should not the signal be rushing through the front door and telling them they're all under arrest?
But what about the people in the woods?
Everybody will already be in place before we start the raid.
Are we not bringing anyone in as a preliminary to seize the house quickly?
You have told me that you have put people all over the place in case somebody runs. That is not going to happen until after the raid begins.
But we can't put the people in. Once we break down the gate and 50 men start marching up, they're going to be at a party, but 50 men isn't just like 3 people.
But we will be 400 feet away. No one will know at the house until we are there. I tell you, they are too far away. They are having a party. They aren't planning the battle looking for us. It's not.
Here's a question: Why are you so against all of our precautions? I mean, if we're overdoing it,
and I think that you are wasting a great deal of effort.
Well,
that is my opinion. If it's a waste, the worst thing that can happen is we might be reprimanded for wasting resources. However, if we don't take all these precautions and Fenelec gets away,
we're fucked.
I would say
if
you have your 45 men or 50 men spread out all over the place, then if they make a concerted effort at the front door, how are you going to stop them?
But what's stopping them from destroying
it? Not only that, but we haven't.
You have 30 people walk through the front door and simply grab everyone and arrest them. You could have it done before they would even realize what is going on.
We also haven't fully scoped out the entire house or his manor, so we don't know if there's
a secret exit.
I mean, I don't know. I've heard stories of these rich aristocrats doing stuff like that. So
you might have an escape down a tunnel out into the woods somewhere.
We'll make it nice and simple, everybody, and say that my rifle going off is the signal for the raid to begin, which means that everyone will send the incursions in. They'll do their thing, unlock the gate. We'll march up. The gunshot will be the indicator for the people in the woods to come over. It'll be the indicator for the people to lay down the boards to barricade the gate. No one's getting out.
And if there is no gunshot, then the raid does not occur. We do not upset these people, and we leave.
Exactly. If the gunshot doesn't go off, then there's no party, and we need to leave.
and everybody has those instructions. That little bit of precaution is well worth.
It's a single bullet. It takes about 5 seconds to just point it up and pull a trigger.
Ultimately, the one contingency I would be concerned about would be if somehow, say, we do find an escape exit. Maybe have a whistle for that is the, oh no, things have gone bad, get over the wall and go find Count Fenelek because he is in the woods now.
Oh yeah, I think that's actually a really good idea. Whistle blow means people need to go that direction.
What direction?
The direction of the whistle. If someone is blowing a whistle, someone is hurt, someone is dying, there is a secret exit.
Oh, he saves that for the Count. He is the primary target, is he not?
I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about him. I'm talking about us. If a crazed cook with a butcher knife comes and axes one of our guys in the face unexpectedly, and there's only 2 of them,
that is the life of a soldier. If one of us takes an axe to the face, c'est la vie.
Wow.
I think we can expect some violent pushback. I honestly think we are not getting out of there without a shot being fired beyond your starting shot. But there will be shots, there will be punches, and there will be knives.
Well,
I say
we're trained soldiers. That's what we're trained for.
Yes.
And Babon does have a good point. Maybe the core group should have a whistle. Whenever Fenelek is encountered, the whistle's blown and everyone goes to that section. Us.
I have a gaming section. We've been soldiers together for a suggestion. We have been soldiers together for a long time. Why don't we just use the usual signals to tell each other what to do?
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck those are,
right.
We'll use them. But we have the plan, Mick. That unless there's any other questions for preparation, I think that's the plan.
Even if the signal is just Tia Renault, you going like that.
I don't think if we're all separated, me doing this is gonna.
It starts.
You have very loud fingers.
Yeah. Unless me doing this is also me doing this, and there's a pistol in my hand. But no, that's the plan, Mick.
Well, that being done, then it takes you several hours to plan this out, and you've made drawings of the estate and various piles of cups and glasses and cutlery have been used on various tabletops to outline your many and varied approaches to strategy. But you've hammered out the bare bones of a plan. And you're just sort of starting to put everything together when the captain returns, and he just enters the room quite quietly and starts looking over your shoulder at the maps and the schematics that you've been drawing. So this is it.
This is it.
And you will carry out this plan on the 13th.
We'll begin on the 12th, and we will carry out the actual raid on the 13th.
I'm going to keep the men back for as long as possible. I'm very worried about leaks.
As am I.
I don't want word getting out about this. So the men will know that they're being deployed, but they won't know where they're going until they get there.
That's a safe precaution, especially because it seems like Fenelek had roots in the town. What's stopping him from having roots in the aristocracy or the military? He's got the throne in his hand.
Oh, he has He has many acolytes in this place, many friends. He has his finger in many pies. Yes. Yes, yes. So you will need, other than the men, you will need what from me?
The swivel gun. We'll need preparations to be made for the arrests. We need to cart them back to Paris. So large wagons.
Many
Anything
manacles.
Yeah, lots and lots of manacles. But that's basically it. The men are the important thing. Of course, as Babon has recommended, he's a good engineer, so he can manufacture our stopping mechanism at the gate. We've got plenty of time. We've got 3
I can build that the day before with things on hand. No problem.
So yeah, basically just transportation to get these people out of there when we have them.
This all seems perfectly straightforward.
Pretty much.
I will draw you up a warrant to take to the armory, where you can withdraw a swivel gun, powder, and shot and a cart, I suppose. As for the other carts, yes, I will have those dispatched with the men. Manacles. Are you proposing to slip manacles on our ruling elite?
If we find them enacting in treasonous behavior, then they are no more than common criminals.
Be very cautious with how you use these manacles.
Well, we will only use it for the most rowdy and the most violent and the most deserving.
Well, yes, but I mean, it's perhaps best to use them as a
threat.
A threat rather than a reality.
Okay.
So we will also need provisions for, well, let's say 60 men. No, we're more. We're going to need carters. It will be difficult to arrange all this without attracting attention, but not impossible. I would wait until very close to the date before you use the warrant to retrieve your supplies from the Bastille Armory.
Of course.
Well, it seems that everything is done. It seems that we are to attack on the 13th. And hopefully we will bring an end to this matter. I don't know what to say beyond that. I think perhaps it is time for you to let your men have some leave. We will give your men a day or two. Tell them to go and see their families.
Sounds reasonable. Are you expecting this to be, I mean, you're making it sound like this is going to be deadly. I'm imagining it'll be bloody, but not deadly.
This is a matter of politics. So there is no telling where these matters will go. If we make a mistake, if we put a foot wrong, we could quite easily be ruined, all of us. The doctor, myself, all of you. These are difficult times. I mean, since the death of the Dauphin, the royal house is in uproar. Everything is in chaos. We have no idea what happens from one day to the next. What we do know is that the Comte is a vile man, He is a rogue in more ways than one, and he has an undue influence over the crown, which in a time like this is unthinkable. We need concerted, solid action to restore order to the country, and we will not get that with a madman whispering in the ear of the king. So we have no choice. But as a mark of my gratitude, I will give your men and yourself 2 days leave. Go and visit with your families.
Well, thank you, Captain.
Refresh yourself.
All right. Well,
with that, he bids you to leave as he remains poring over the details of your plan, looking over your schematics and things, and sort of humming and nodding to himself. Every now and then he makes little notes. And you are sent off on leave for 2 days to visit your families or otherwise occupy yourself in the manner in which you choose to. We can, if you wish, roleplay you going on leave, if you'd like to do that.
I'm sure we can do that in email.
If there's something that we have in mind. Maybe.
Well, if you've got anything, I think doing that by email would be quite good.
Okay.
I do want to. Oh, sorry. I did want to say one thing to the group once we were away from everybody and it was just us. And I had a sinking feeling in my stomach when the captain was saying that the Count has his fingers in many pies. I don't necessarily mean the captain, but maybe the judge or the court system, Fenelic, we might just be walking ourselves into a trap. This might be set up to clear his name and put us in, I don't know, it's just a feeling I had.
Which is why we do the infiltration. We make sure things are going on.
Just wanted to put it in our heads to keep our eyes open.
Well, I'm going in expecting the worst anyways. So, feel ya, Joseph.
We must have the elan.
Yes, la force.
We must shut down that blasphemy. It must end now.
I'm going to get a drink. Visit my family. Fuck that. My family is dead.
Ah, such loss. You could come with me. We visit my son. We bring Petty Prince. The old son meets the new son, and perhaps the old son also meets the bitter, cantankerous grandfather.
The only thing that I wish right here.
All right. So we'll go on our merry way.
Okay, well, with you going off to occupy yourselves on leave for 2 days, I think that's a perfect point to call it for tonight.
Cool. Perfect.
And you can now get a week's rest before embarking on your assault of the Chateau de Fenelac.
All right. Our players included Thomas McKeon, Wayne Worthy, Fred Carter, Luke Strom, Jason Melnichuk, and myself, with Mick Swan as the keeper of the secrets. We're currently producing 4 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. If you'd like to become a patron, visit our Patreon account. Just $1 a month helps us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch that bell icon for updates on our latest shows. Leave us some comments we like reading. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck, good game.